Hello, this is Elena from Mirrix Looms. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to combine beads and fiber on a Mirrix tapestry and bead loom. Today we are going to be using an 8-inch Laney loom. Any of our looms 8 inches or larger you can use for this method of combining beads and fiber. And we're going to be using the shedding device, which is that piece of copper that goes across the loom. And basically what that does is it lifts up half of your warp threads when it's put in one direction and the other half when it's in the other direction. And that allows you to weave your fiber very fast and easily, but it also allows you to just place your beads in between sets of warp threads. So we'll go into that a little bit more, but I just want to note that a shedding device for this method of combining beads and fiber on a Mirrix loom is necessary. So let's get started. So here we have our loom with the shedding device on it. At the top there's a warp coil or a spring, and that spaces your warp threads. Here we're going to be weaving with 8/0 beads, and so we either use a 20 dent warp coil, warped every other dent. A dent is a space in the coil, or a 10 dent warp coil. If you were going to use 11/0 seed beads, you'd want to use a 14 dent coil for this. So we're just going to start out and show you how to weave fiber, just the absolute very basics. So you have your shedding device and it is connected with heddles, which are little loops of a either beading thread or whatever you make them out of. We also have a pre-made heddles that you can buy. And those connect to every other thread on the shedding device. And so when you move your shedding device in one direction, so I'm moving it down here, you're lifting up half your threads, and when you move it in the other direction, you're lifting up those other threads. So the basic concept is that you move your shedding device from position to position and you bring your thread through the warp threads that are being lifted up. And as you do that, you start to weave. So it's the same concept of actually picking and weaving in and out of your threads, but the shedding device lifts those threads for you. So what we just have here is a beading needle with a piece of beading thread. This is Ceylon size D, tied in a loop to it. And what we're going to do is take our thread, so we're going to take our silk and put it through that loop, and then we're going to pick up our beads. Now we have 15 warp threads, so we're going to have 14 beads, one fewer beads than how many warp threads you have. So 3, 4, 5, 14. Okay, so I have my beads on my thread, and then what you do is just push them so they are actually on the silk, and then you can just remove that loop. So now your beads are actually directly on your silk, which is really fun. And then all you're going to do is you're going to go back into whatever the opposite shed, as if you were just weaving without beads, and you're going to bring your thread through and bring your beads through. Just add them so every bead should be between warp threads. So you see how we have our 15 warp threads and one bead is between each 2 warp threads. And then we can continue weaving, and we have added beads right into the piece. Now the fun thing about this, besides that you are weaving beads into your fiber piece, which is just in itself really awesome, you're also helping keep your piece the same width. So with fiber weaving, it's really easy to pull in or not to keep your piece the same width all the way across. But when you add beads, it really helps to fix that problem. And so that's it. You can add more rows of beads, you can do different techniques with fibers, you can add different kinds of fibers. The possibilities are really endless, and you can see how easy it is to start adding beads to your piece right now.